There are things that you use that you may, oh, I never heard of that. That's great. And you hear about it, you get it, and then you forget that you were marketed to get it initially.
Hello, I'm Marcus Freed, and welcome to the Freedthinker. This is where we talk to business owners and thought leaders, look at cutting edge marketing techniques, what's working in today's business climate, how to market on a shoestring, and essential skills to get heard above the noise of the competition. I run Freedthinking, which is a growth marketing agency based in London and Los Angeles. I'm delighted to welcome today's guest. Etan G is originally from Baltimore and currently lives in Los Angeles. He's known internationally as the Jewish rapper, has appeared on the Howard Stern show and been kicked off of the Chabad Telethon. Etan started a non-profit called Rock for Israel, which raises money to bring notable musicians to Israel to see and experience the land, to give them a first-hand perspective of the country and to rock the hell out of Israel. It's not about politics, though. He's also performed for 3 decades with the Jewish band Shlock Rock. His first show was in 1991 in front of 15,000 people. Etan has a business in Los Angeles where he provides Apple tech support to local business owners, and I am delighted to welcome today's Freedthinker, Etan G.
And I'm so delighted to be here, my brother. Thank you.
Which part of the world are you currently in?
I'm currently in Baltimore, Maryland.
What is marketing to you? What does marketing mean to you?
I think marketing is the promotion of a product. That's it. Making people aware of your product. You're marketing it to people. I have X. I need you to know about X so you can interact with X, whether it's purchasing or subscribing or whatever it is that you need to interact with. That's what marketing is. And there are a million different ways to market because it depends on what it is you're marketing.
Great, thank you. So I like the way you put that so concisely, and we'll come back to those million different ways in a moment. But what would you say is the thing that you've successfully marketed over the years, perhaps the most successful, or the thing you've had the most fun with marketing?
There are things that you use that you may, oh, I never heard of that. That's great. And you hear about it, you get it, and then you forget that you were marketed to get it initially. Why is one better or worse than the other? So for me, let's say microphones, okay? I love a Shure SM58. I love it. It's a rapper's mic. It's been around forever. Are there better mics now? I'm sure. Are there? But that's the one I've always used. So it's the kind of thing that you know. Marketing, successful marketing, is when I get you, let's say, when you're young, and then you're beholden to it. I'll give you another example. Swatch watches. You know Swatch?
Sure. Yeah, they were massive back in the 80s, 90s.
And yet they're still around. They still make great watches. And for me, if anybody says, oh, what kind of watch do you like? A Swatch. Why? Because it has an emotional thing from my youth.
Right.
It's stylish still. Are they the biggest? No, Rolex and this. But Swatch to me, that's how I remember. Tide, the detergent. I like Tide. Why? Because my mom used Tide. It's those kinds of, that is successful marketing.
Right. So something which is going to embed it emotionally.
Right.
We're going to have that connection. We're going to buy from our emotions. We might sort of purchase or consider the purchase based on facts, but we're buying with our heart rather than our head often.
Yeah. If you think about the foods we eat, just the foods we eat at a Shabbos table, we'll have, there are foods that you remember when you were a kid that your mom made for you. Yeah. Brands in America, Drake's Cakes, Entenmann's. Any Jew on the East Coast can talk about Entenmann's donuts from the 70s, the 80s. It's all we grew up with. Oh my God. And we look for it. If we're going to the supermarket, we see it. Oh my God, I remember that. And we might get it because we have an emotional attachment to it.
That's very interesting. It's making me think of, and I don't mean to be pretentious high up, but
no, please be pretentious.
Well, thank you. Marcel Proust, À la recherche du temps perdu, in Remembrance of Lost Time, in his massive 6-volume novel that took 12 years to write. He has several pages in one book about the taste of a madeleine, which is some cake, French cake. And he talks about all of the memories around it and what it sparks off in this sort of free train of thought. And actually, but from a marketing perspective, that really is at the heart of marketing.
100%. That's what it is. You can think of a million things. I know musicians that have a certain guitar because that was their first guitar. I love these guitars because you used it, you got it 30, 40, 50 years ago, and you still use it now because you have that. Are there better guitars? Of course, there might be, but this is what feels so right. Yeah, I get it.
It's interesting.
Marketing.
It's very interesting.
And to jump back to your pretentious comment, I think pretentiousness is marketing. You have to be in your face about you or your product or your service and be pretentious about it, not be shy about it.
So on that, not be shy, let's go for that one, because I noticed something very, it always stuck with me within the Los Angeles Jewish community, where once a year or a couple of times a year, you'd send out this email and it had a lot of personal stuff in it. It said, like, this is what you're promoting, this is what you're currently looking for. And it kind of caught me off guard from time to time. I was like, oh, why is Etan sharing all of this stuff? But I noticed that whilst you shared a lot of personal things, you were very open about it. There was no fear within your marketing. It was, this is what I am, this is what I want. Judge me or don't judge me, I don't care, but this is it.
My newsletter, it was magic. It reached to maybe 1,500, 1,600 people, particularly at that time. And for me, first of all, everything in that email was proofread and thought out. As much as there was a nice personal flow to it, it was very much thought out in how it was written, in the way it was written. It was sometimes personal, and sometimes it appeared personal. It was more to give you, the viewer, the listener, the reader, certain information that you would be interested in what it is that I'm doing. And most of the time, it had to do with when I was constantly on tour. The goal for the newsletter was for me to see and get together with people wherever I am. So here are my tour dates. Here's what I'm going to be. I'd love to see you. But also there was a section in it called My Needs. Do you remember that?
Absolutely. And this is what it sort of, I think grated isn't the word. I kind of felt a bit uncomfortable. I was like, why is it, I was like, why is he being so honest about the stuff he needs?
So the needs were a great thing. And I'll tell you how it originated, and then you can see its evolution. What was happening before email was a big thing, before I would be on tour and I'd go to this city and I'd get together with friends and they would ask me, hey, Etan, what's going on with you? Oh, well, I'm doing this and doing this and doing this. And then the next city, another friend, I'm doing this, doing this. And I had to repeat the same thing over and over again. And I just got annoyed. And so I sent out a newsletter with all the things that I'm going to tell you so that when you see me, you're already caught up. The My Needs section was an addition to that, because I would find that when I went on the road, I would say, yeah, I was trying to get these glasses that were there, but I couldn't get them and they sold out. Oh my God, why didn't you ask me? I know so-and-so that works over here and he could totally get that. So I created a My Needs section for other people to be able to help out, so that I don't have to have that missed opportunity where, I know. And I can tell you that with every newsletter, it came out like once a month, my needs were met.
Well, that's amazing. And so let's look at how that applies to a business owner, small, medium-sized business. And I think there's something, the first thing which comes to mind. So someone who's looking to use their marketing for a financial return. So yours was, well, let's say it was a financial return in that you got something you needed, and
there were things that I needed. Yeah.
It could be exchanged for money, it could be exchanged for something else, but there was definitely the return. The question of fear, one thing I notice a lot around people, small businesses, in fact, humans, is the fear which stops us from marketing. I've certainly been putting off doing this podcast, this video series for a long time now. The idea that, well, we're scared of being rejected. I don't want someone to reject me, so therefore I'm not going to put myself out there. But of course, marketing is about getting attention. So how have you seen this play out? Or actually, what would you advise to the business owner who isn't making as much noise as they can with their marketing, whether on their own or they're even holding back their marketing agency? I sometimes occasionally find with clients, they're like, oh, no, don't go too full on. But what do you say to business owners with that?
So I think it ultimately really depends on what it is you're trying to market.
Sure.
I'll give you an example. Just the other day. So I have my nonprofit, Rock for Israel. You spoke very kindly of it in the top of the show here. And Rock for Israel. So somebody said to me, Etan, you need to raise money. You need to raise money for this. And you should do like a GoFundMe. You should do a charity, one of those things, those fundraiser type things. To which I said, listen, if I'm really beaten down and at the bottom, then I would do that. And she said, why? Why wouldn't you do it now to raise the money? And I said, because there is an image that I want to create for the patron, the donor, the organization, Rock for Israel. And it has to be something that is what I feel the organization, how it should be presented. And that's really it. I don't want my organization to be those camps or those organizations that are raising money to help kids and cancer. And the website itself for many of those charity organizations are clunky. They're not classy. They're not, they're, very just mediocre. And I demand greatness. And rock and roll and music, I want to have something that I can present not only to, let's say, a secular musician in rock and roll who's been on tour with countless bands on How Things Done, but I also want to present it to affluent donors, and I don't really want them seeing me. I don't want them seeing the organization in that light. Like, look at him. And what happens if you don't reach your goal on one of those things? Then you really look like a schmuck. And that's, I don't, I'm a risk taker, but I'm a calculated risk taker. And for now, I want to keep the image, a classy image of Rock for Israel as that. It's rock and roll. Rock and roll can be organic, authentic, gritty, but there's a way to present it that it's just not trashy, like dirty.
Absolutely. I think the whole, so crowdfunders very much have their place within one marketing tool of many marketing tools, but it's how they're being used. And you don't want it to use the Yiddish word nebuch. I don't know how you translate it into English. Like slightly sad, slightly needy. You don't want to, you're putting a certain brand and a certain image for your donors. And so that, it has its place. But just to describe a little bit more on the ground for people watching, for people listening, what Rock for Israel does. So what's the kind of on one foot description? What, if you're in Israel, like, what do you see?
In my illustrious career as a performer around the world, not only have I performed with Shlock Rock, the Jewish rock band that brings Jewish education, Jewish unity to the people, but I've also been involved and performed in the secular music, we'll use that term, in regular music. And I've met incredible and played with incredible musicians. I go to jams in LA all the time. And you have these musicians that play for some of the biggest bands in the world. And I'm hanging out with them, whether it's having a cigar or just listening to music or whatever. They're friends. And whenever I'm the token yarmulke wearing Jew at these things, and whenever anything goes down in Israel or news or headlines or whatever, I'm the guy they come to because I'm the one that's most connected to Israel in that regard. And they say, well, why don't you guys, just give the land back and whatever, and work it out. I said, yeah, we're trying. And the goal was one day, I hope to figure out a way to get you guys to Israel. And that day came in 2017, 2018, when I said, something, I'm going to do like our mutual friend, Avi Lieberman, who has Comedy for Kobe. He's been bringing comedians there for over 15 years. It's been very successful. He makes the trips personal. Those entertainers, the comedians that come, they perform. And this is the same thing for Rock for Israel, just musicians. Come perform, come see the land, come meet the people of Israel, let the people of Israel meet you, hang out, and then you'll get a firsthand experience with warts and all. I'll show you everything.
Right. And it's very interesting because it's like the way the marketing works. So Avi takes comedians, primarily non-Jewish comedians from America to Israel, but also elsewhere.
He doesn't discriminate.
He doesn't discriminate. And you'll take musicians, again,
I don't discriminate. You're talented, rock and roll.
Exactly, talented rock and roll, and then do tours around. I love the way that you drive each other to the airport, depending on who's flying in LA. And then last time you kindly drove me to the airport when Abby was
That's
going,
right.
you were going another, oh, Abby, whatever. Abby was driving your car. So the the marketing aspect of, well, there's multiple marketing channels and marketing directions within this one thing. So within Rock for Israel, you're doing the marketing on the ground to get people to the shows. There is the marketing aspect of the fundraising to help pay for it. There's the marketing aspect of, by bringing American musicians over who have not had an experience of Israel. Some of them may have no concept of actually what it was like other than what they're seeing on CNN, Fox, BBC. They then get that other experience. You're able to market that. And then as a result, they can, providing they have a good experience, advocate on behalf of it, and then hopefully come away with a positive experience.
I'll even take it to another level.
Yeah.
Israel is also marketing itself.
Continually. And so are the Palestinians, and so is Iran, and so is Syria.
That's
and
right.
yeah, I mean, it's okay. So that's pretty geopolitical marketing.
Right. So in the end, all the things that you had mentioned ultimately revolve around me. I am what's marketing everything. But in the end, when donors are donating to Rock for Israel, it's because they're meeting me. I'm the passionate guy about this. I believe in it. I'm marketing music, which most people love and want to support, and cultural exchanges. It's me around these musicians that they're willing to go. To begin with, hey, we know Etan G, great guy. We trust him. He's going to show us a good time, and we'll go with him. And then there's the marketing in Israel. Most people, there are many people that know me in Israel, but not like to that degree that the numbers that we need to come to these shows, they don't all know me, but they're going to appreciate what I'm presenting to them, which is notable musicians coming to Israel. They're going to want to see that, and then they're going to meet me, and then they're going to fall in love with me too, just as you have.
Exactly. We all love you. Exactly. I love it. And I think now will be the time when normally in a podcast, people say, now a word from our sponsor, but this is early. We don't have a sponsor. So I think now will be a great time just to name check the Rock for Israel. Where can people donate to support these musicians coming along to give people shows?
All they need to do is go to rockforisrael.org.
rockforisrael.org.
And you can follow all the socials at Rock for Israel. The number 4, not the FOR.
Okay, super. Thank you. So rockforisrael.org. So far we've spoken about overcoming fear. We've spoken about making lots of noise. We've spoken about saying what you want, an aspect of vulnerability. What were your early challenges that you've faced from a marketing perspective? So we've talked about what's worked, but what's held you back in the past? Now, I know I've seen there's that great clip with the younger G, where you're on the Howard Stern show, not sort of lacking any confidence. What's a challenge you've faced internally, and how have you overcome it?
There's constantly challenges. If there's no challenges, then you have nothing to overcome, and you're not pushed to be better. I will say like this: some of it's the quintessential idea of nature versus nurture. We're all born differently. We're all born with certain temperaments, and then through life we have challenges that kind of shape us. So someone may have some maybe traumatic experience that will make them more introverted, that'll make them shy, that'll make them kind of hide. And their marketing techniques when they get older in whatever field they choose to go in would be very different than mine. My experience, if I could have the same experiences as that other individual and would handle them totally differently. So for me, all the schools that I got kicked out of, all the rejection, all that, it was the kind of thing that it just fell off me. And it was almost, I wore it as a badge of pride. Oh, you got kicked out in the middle of 11th grade. Everybody was talking about me. Oh my God, I love all this attention. It's the greatest. And so eventually you build a skin that well, in my case, my marketing style is more bombastic, in your face. And whereas someone else's might be a little bit different. I'd ask you the same question. You, a performer and an actor, right? I've always wondered this. You were defined essentially by a headshot. You have to hand a casting director a picture of yourself that's been coiffed and neatly shaped and everything. And on the back, you have to have certain credentials. It's almost like a Tinder profile with this paper. They
Right.
don't know you. The only thing they can say, do we want this guy? Is they look at your picture. Oh, handsome, British. Ooh, we need that with the accent. Great. And and your credits. And then they have to make a decision along with 10,000 other people.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you've gotten rejected many times. So when you market yourself, you have to somehow stand out from the others within the confines of the format that they've given you, which is the headshot.
Right. And I think it's a great question. Thank you. It's increasingly difficult. And because of so much rejection over the years in the commercial acting sphere, I actually stepped back from it. And about 3 or 4 years ago, I just let go of my manager in LA and I let go of my agent. And I just decided I'm going back to what I originally did, was go solo, market my own stuff, touring communities. It was originally Jewish communities around the world, performing one-man plays, shooting my own music videos, which I've done over the last 8 years. Just shot a couple of short films in Los
Where
Angeles.
can everybody see your stuff?
Like hustling, marcusjfreed.com.
Oh.
At Marcus J. Freed, although this is the Freedthinking podcast for freedthinking.com, but at Marcus J. Freed, that's the personal stuff. So thank you. I like the turnaround. I think it's an interesting question as well, just like through our mutual love of LA and the heart community there. The acting scene, it's almost barbaric, the level of competition. I mean, when I'm casting, say, a music video, or I've been casting these romantic comedies more recently, I'll put an ad on Actors Access, which is one of the main sites, and I'll have 700 responses within 24 hours or 48 hours, and then videos, and then it's a big process of cutting it down. And it's not impossible to stand out. Someone always gets the job. There are people who work over and over and over again, but it's a dark magic. It's alchemy. And I think the answer, or one possible answer from the acting perspective, not to sort of sideline too much, but is you just keep creating new things. You just keep creating. Although, actually, I'm gonna bring this around to business with the free thinking stuff. So certainly on the marketing agency side, there's tremendous competition. I mean, anyone with a phone is able to say, hey, I make videos, I shoot videos, I've just graduated from film school, or just got a marketing degree or an associate's degree. But so the challenge is, what's the personal aspect? We want to go with people, we want to go with someone's specific approach, and we're drawn to them. So I think it's bringing that personal aspect within it, and then your uniqueness will come out.
Which goes back to what I was saying before, that it has to do, at least in our business, personality. You have to be likable. You have to, even if I've seen musicians that are totally likable and their music is not great, and everybody will tell them it's great, and they'll make a great living making their music that people like because they are likable. I could even say me as the example. My music's good. I like my music. I think many people will love it. If you go to jewishrapper.com, you can listen to it. And a lot of people like it. I've gotten comments from people that it really changed me. It got me through a time and those kinds of things. But when I listen to my music, I say, something, I could have done so much better. I could have done this and I could have done that. But marketing is, you have to put something out. Ultimately, at least for what we do, for creatives, a lot of it has to do with who we are as people. Hey, you want to come see my show? I'll come see Etan G's show. He's a great guy. I'll go see Marcus in this movie or in this video, whatever it is. Hey, how much is the cover? It's $5. $5 is great. I could totally do that. Support Etan G. They don't know what I'm going to do. Maybe they know from previous, but they know enough about me that it's just going to be fun. You hang out with Etan G, it's fun. Hang out with Marcus Freed. You and I, we've gone to premieres together. We've done many events together. I've always loved spending time with you. You are an extroverted person. You're lovely to watch, socialize. You have personality. And it's that needs to come out in the things that you and I market. Whereas, let's say Coca-Cola, they don't need to do that as much. They have to get you to taste their product. Oh, we love this soda. This tastes better than the other stuff. And now you got them. Here you go. Here's a free can. Here's a free thing. They constantly have to give free product for people. And now they're in the zeitgeist. It's part of the world.
Absolutely.
But they didn't, so we have to do exactly the same thing, but with our own product. We have to give people, you can come to the show for free. Oh yeah, I'll put you on the guest list. Sure, you come to the movie, here's a pass. You want to give certain things for free to give them a taste of what you have, and hopefully they'll enjoy it and come back for more.
That's lovely, Etan, and you're so gracious and such a mention. I appreciate it. So gracious. The way that this applies, I think, to just switch the business hats on for a moment. So you also do Mac tech support and help with operators. How would you describe that, just for context, before I ask the question?
Sure. So that's more of a side hustle, and the reason I do that is in 2008, if you remember the crash, or in America we had the
very well. My business tanked in the UK. Yeah, it was
so,
working with major firms. Then suddenly everything died overnight, and I was temping a week later.
Crazy. So in 2002, 2003, I got my first Apple computer, and it was like the heavens open and the Lord shone his countenance upon me. The light, it just worked the way my brain worked. And I was quickly able to learn the ins and the outs of how the operating system works, how the hardware works, and everything was just laid out beautifully and magically. And so for all those years, as I was getting better and people were starting to use Macs more, people would come, hey, Etan, do you like your Mac? How do you do this? And how do you do that? And I would spend time talking with them and helping them fix or do or teach or whatever. In 2008, when all this happened, I said, guys, I got to start charging you. I got to make money, got to pay rent. Not a lot. And now I've grown my name. People love hanging out. I have a master's degree in education. I have a way of communicating information to people that they would, oh, now I understand. And I have a way of explaining things such that it empowers them that they can solve problems on their own going in the future. Now, one could argue if I teach them to solve problems, then they don't need me and I lose money. And that would be correct. However, I'm much more about the personal, I want you to succeed on your own. And then you're going to tell somebody, hey man, you gotta call Etan G to fix your thing. And then they come to me, and it kind of just perpetuates goodness all the way down the line. So it's a side gig for me. I can do it from anywhere. Now, the big thing is I have to do it for my parents. My parents barely know how to push a button. They turn, Ma, you got to do the Ma, Dad. No. That's a spam email. Don't click on that. No, you push this button. Why is it so? Hit the escape button. It'll minimize all these things. So that's all these skills have built up to me helping my parents.
That's beautiful. and built up, helped many people, and monetized. So as a last question,
please.
And it's a general one. What would be one marketing channel or something people should do, or one piece of advice that someone who's got a business that's up and running but wants to get more clients, what's something they can do to make more noise and get heard?
I would ask this. It depends on how many clients they need for their business to succeed. Mm-hmm. Do they need as many as, say, Coca-Cola or Apple? Or
let's say to get 3 more clients. Something they can do.
Again, it depends on what it is that they're doing. Word of mouth is always the best. When people trust you, when people like you, then whatever product or entity or service you have, they will be more likely to speak of you. I think the hardest part in marketing is what we call in the music business staying relevant. Staying relevant is, Marcus, you have to constantly put out content so that people see your name. Oh, Marcus Freed puts out great stuff, but let it lapse a year of no content. Oh my God, who the hell is Marcus Freed? I don't know. My kids are all grown up.
This is new content.
Right. So you constantly have to stay relevant. And that, I think, is the hardest part. If you think of great musicians from the 80s, for example, who are on tour now, I'll give you an example. I just went to see Jefferson Starship.
Cool.
Jefferson Starship, great band. And their place in rock history. You've heard of them. But, they really haven't put out anything. but they're going on tour, and people go to see them because they remember how great the music was. And then Jefferson Starship comes out and plays, like, oh my God, I forgot they had this song and that song, and that those are the greatest. It's so great. And I'm picking a band like that because they weren't my favorite, but
Sure.
in the pantheon of rock and roll, they were great. They just put out great
It's
stuff.
like when Mike Myers put Bohemian Rhapsody into Wayne's World,
Yes.
and it wasn't known to a lot of people of a younger generation. And then suddenly it was there, everyone's singing it in the car, like they're back on. You know, Queen's always been a super group, but it put it there. But Etan, this is awesome. I hope we can do it again. And thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Anytime, I'm here for you, brother.
Connecting. Wonderful. Okay, well, thank you very much. And make sure if you're watching, listening, check out the links, Rock for Israel and the Jewish rapper. Thank you, Etan. Shalom.
Love you, Marcus. Carry on, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you for watching or listening in. Please make sure you follow our YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And if you'd like email updates about future episodes or to find out more about how we can help your business, please sign up at freedthinking.com. I'm Marcus Freed. Keep thinking freely and stay creative. Goodbye.